Alright guys, so it's time for another weekend roundup. I'm filming this on Saturday morning because I don't think anything's going to happen between like Saturday and Sunday, so I'm just going to film it now. Um, so this is weekend roundup number 2. Um, there was some pretty big stuff that I want to talk about. And if you like these videos, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe, all that good stuff. You guys know the drill. The first thing I want to talk about is a game series I'm not too familiar with, but I know a lot of people are pumped about it. That's why I'm going to mention it, just so you guys can know about it, just in case you don't follow the same channels I do and same people I do. Um, but they're apparently doing a remaster within the next few years of the Max Payne 1 and 2 games. Um, and Max Payne was like a third-person action shooter type game. I'm not really familiar with it. I'll probably throw up some gameplay or something. Um, Max Payne 1 or 2 during this, so you guys can see what the game is if you guys aren't familiar like I am. But apparently, I forget the company name that got the rights from Rockstar, but they're working with Rockstar to do it, so that's gonna be pretty cool when it does get like announced and the teaser comes out to see how big the remaster is. Now, I heard that people are thinking it's gonna be like both games combined into like one, but I'm thinking that they're gonna do like a collection and they're just gonna be both remakes. Maybe release a collection of sorts or something. I highly doubt they merge both games into one game unless the stories like meld together. I'm not really sure about the stories on that, but yeah, I'm not really familiar with Max Payne, so I'm not going to cover too much more. But it's still a pretty big deal because I know a lot of people really enjoyed that series of games. So, and I think Max Payne 3 is like backwards compatible with Xbox series. So if you have it physically, you can download like an enhancement patch or something for it. I think. So I mean that's cool. So like if you're familiar with Max Payne, um, be looking out for that in the next few years, because they literally just announced it. There's no announcement chart, so there's nothing really to show or talk about yet. Um, Next thing we're going to talk about is something to do with the House of Dead remake that came out on Switch earlier this week. I think it was like Tuesday or Wednesday it came out. Um, Apparently it got spotted through a data mine on the PS4 PSN shop. Now when that's going to happen, I have no idea. I would maybe 6 months from now, because I think Forever Entertainment has like a 6 month deal or something. Because I think Panzer Dragoon is on PS4 now, and I don't remember when that came out and the time in between the two, but I know they have some like exclusivity deal with the Nintendo and Switch and all that. So um, that's kind of cool that if that comes to PS4, because that could potentially mean like VR support, so you can actually have like a pointer, and it'll be more of a light gun shooter on PS4, especially if they utilize VR. But I honestly don't think they will. I don't know why people are trying to get their hopes up for that, because I just don't see them adding VR into like a budgety title game. Not to say that they won't, but I wouldn't hold your breath. But it still is cool nonetheless that it's gonna be on PS4, because that'll just give more opportunities to buy it, as well as a House of the Dead 2 remake whenever that comes out for Switch. That'll probably eventually come to the PS4 as well. I don't know about Xbox or Steam or whatever. or the Epic Games Store. I have no idea about any of that. Probably not, but who knows? This next thing is kind of a weird topic that I wasn't going to cover, but people have been talking about it, and it's the availability of the PS5 versus the Xbox Series X and S consoles. Apparently, rumors are going around that Microsoft bought ahead, like I don't know the business terms or whatever they did. Basically, they bought a lot of the chips and chipsets and all that stuff that are needed to produce their consoles way before the chip shortage happened. So they were basically stockpiled before all the stuff happened with chip shortages and stuff. And apparently Sony didn't do that because they don't have a jabillion dollars. I'm exaggerating, but they don't have basically limitless funds like Microsoft does to just throw at their Xbox division and be like, here's $50 million. Go buy whatever chips you need to produce X amount of Xbox Series consoles, and so we can try to crush Sony in the buying market. And it's working because as of a few months ago, the Xbox Series consoles were outselling the PS5 because they're more readily available, which is kind of weird. Which I've noticed that too, and that it's funny that people were pointing out because I was like, why are people finding Xbox Series S's and X's more than PS5 digital or physicals or disc editions? I mean, whatever. Um, and I was like, no wonder why people are just settling for Xbox if they're a Sony person and they prefer Sony. Well, if you want to play next gen games and you don't want to have a beefy PC setup, the next gen consoles are pretty good beefy PC spec wise kinda. So settling for Xbox is the next best thing. Even if you're looking for God of War or something like that, there's still a lot of good games on Xbox, as well as you get Game Pass and stuff like that. So it's a win-win for Microsoft because they did the smart thing, they did the business thing. And we're gonna stockpile this stuff while we can. So that's what they did, and it seems to be working. And I'm sure Sony's kicking themselves for not doing that because it's hard as hell to get a PS5. I got lucky getting mine. Not to go off on a tangent here, but a friend of mine actually hooked me up with a decent deal. It was $650 or $700 for a console with two controllers. So that's not too bad. But I got lucky getting my PS5, and I love it. I don't have it hooked up to a 4K TV yet, but it's definitely worth it if you can find one. But if not, just get an Xbox. They're worth it too. Even though I don't have one, I know there's value in getting them. And that's pretty much it. Other than Sony announcing their new premium tier of PlayStation Plus and all that stuff, I'm gonna go into that really quick. I'm not gonna delve into it too much because there's not really much to talk about. But I'm gonna switch over here. Give me 1 second, because I have the actual article pulled up. Hopefully I remember to do this because I haven't done it in forever. Hopefully that works. But I'll just quickly scroll around and show you the tiers. You get Essentials is basically what we have now. There's Extra, and then there's Premium. And you guys can see the payouts and all that stuff. It's basically $100 a year, $120 a year, and you get PS1, PS2, and PS3 cloud games, and PSP as well. So, do I think this is worth it? It's It's debatable if it is. For me, no, because I'm not a big, like, I wasn't a big PS1, PS2 kid. I had an N64 and a GameCube, so I'm not real familiar with like JRPGs on the PS1 and PS2 and stuff like that. I mean, the only games I really had experience with are like Tekken 1, or not Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, stuff like that. Like classic stuff, and then you had like Tekken 4, Tekken 5, uh, the Budokai games, um, stuff like that. So I'm not really big into Sony, like early generation, or even like Sony in general. I'm not a fanboy of any particular console. Like they all have their strong suits, but I just don't think Sony trying to compete this way with Microsoft. Microsoft, yes, they have less subscribers right now, but give that another year and a half, I think it'll start to catch up because of the shortage of PS5 consoles, like I mentioned earlier. Because that's going to be a huge detriment to Sony eventually. And with Microsoft, how affordable their S's is, their Xbox Series S console is, um, I think it's like what, 250 or something like that, and that's really affordable for a digital only console. If you don't care about the physicality of discs, you could just buy all digital and basically have a budget kind of Xbox Series X. Yeah, you won't be at like 4K, 120 FPS, stuff like that, but you can, some games you get like 4K 60 or 4K 30, I think. I'm not too familiar with it, but still, it's definitely worth your money to get the Xbox Series S if you're on a budget and you don't really care about physical games and you want to get a ton of games for basically $120 a year, I think it is. Maybe it's like 160. I forget. Microsoft's a little more, I know, but you're getting way more stuff. And the only reason I know that is because a friend of mine always like talks big about how huge of a value getting Ultimate Game Pass is. So that's where I think Sony needs to get to, like doing their own kind of backwards compatibility with putting a disc into your PS5 to play PS1, 2, and 3 games, and having some kind of enhancements. Now, Microsoft did announce earlier on in the year that they were stopping that, but they did it for a while. I think they're just stopping it because licenses were too hard to like renew and stuff like that. So it was like too hard for them to do it. So they were just like, okay, it's too much work. Plus, no one was really probably doing it anyway. Like a lot of people liked it, but really nobody was probably doing it. So that's why they're probably just like, you know what, screw it. We'll just do focus on Ultimate Game Pass, and it seems to be working for them. So yeah, that's pretty much the roundup for the weekend here. So let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. There's a lot of video game news stuff out there. I recommend checking out channels like Spawnwave Media and RGT85. They definitely are more bang for your buck when you're looking for really good, well put together news. But I appreciate you guys watching my takes on stuff like this. And if you like the stuff I'm doing, please leave a like, comment down below, subscribe. Don't forget to click that bell button for notifications. And thank you for Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. It means a lot to me, guys. It helps out the channel a lot. And helps me get equipment for the channel. And you guys, don't worry about the background. Like I said, you got to give my family time to help us move around all our stuff and get me moved up to my new office / filming area. So just bear with me, guys. I know it's horrible looking, but just bear with me, please. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for understanding, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out.